back to the channel. I'm going to be rolling out doing a Centurion 7.1 preview before I do the big preview that's coming up later, probably this month. And one of the things you'll notice about the Centurion 7.1 more than anything else is that it's just not super fast. This is kind of the first main battle tank that was ever created, and it wasn't blessed with a whole heck of a lot of speed. One thing it does well is climb, though. So I'm about to climb up when I see that my platoon mate, some guy named Rainbow41 from Reddit, he needs some help. So I turn it around and I start heading back into the middle to see if I can provide a little bit of relief for him. Now the Centurion 7.1's got a pretty tough turret. It's got really good gun depression. I'm using the 105 in this game, so I've got like 270 pen and 400 alpha damage. And this comment's about to experience how much alpha damage I do have. Now, one of the things I've found with the Centurion 7.1 is the gun handling is you have to stop and let the gun settle a fair bit from my experience with it. If you try and do a lot of snapshotting and popping around the corners, I find this gun lags a lot more than a lot of other tanks do. So I'm going to stop, I'm going to aim in, and I'm going to put a heavy shot through the side of that T-54. And it managed to keep my platoon mate alive, and he was appreciative of my effort. Now to my left there is a tier 9 Type 61, which is the Japanese medium tank, and he's really beat to hell. And there's also an LTTB, and he's fighting it out with our T49. T49's doing a pretty good job there, and he's about to finish off that Type 61. And I'm just going to drive up here to see if I can give him a hand. And I'm just scanning around, looking around, and T49 is using the little baby size gun, which is kind of interesting. And then I noticed that Jag's getting overrun by the IS-6. And again, I should have waited for that shot to settle a bit more, but sometimes you snapshot and it works, sometimes you snapshot and it doesn't work. So I'm going to fully aim that shot, and that shot from the IS-6 penned the front of the tank. It probably wouldn't have if I hadn't been angled down so much, but it ended up hitting me. And then there's a camping IS-3 in the base. That's what just shot me from back there. So I'm going to back up, and I'm going to try and hide a little bit more of my tank, and I'm going to finish off that IS-6. Now my experience with this map is that I just don't generally like to hang out in this middle for too long. I don't find I'm very productive there. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to see if I can help root out the last T-37 and the T-49 that's back there. And I'm going to drive off to the side because I know that IS-3 is still camping over there. And I'm coming around, and I'm aiming, and this guy's going to pop up. And it's weird day for the T-49s. None of them are using that big 152 derp gun, which is kind of surprising since that seems to be like the go-to gun for a lot of people when they use that tank. Unfortunately, Jag just bit it. He got shot by the base camping IS-3. Because base camping strong! I just actually had a game where we had an M103, and he was like one of the only 2 or 3 tier 9s in the map, and he decided to camp the base right here, right in that spot, J7. So I put another heavy shot through the side of that T-54, and I start trying to come around on him, and just waiting. See if he'll pop around. Doesn't look like he's going to. I must say it's probably one of the most handsome tanks in the game. It's a really good looking tank. And then I get spotted by the IS-3. Centurion 7.1 does traverse on the spot pretty good. And that was the clickers trying to click me. I'm having a lot of fun with the clickers lately. They've been doing a lot of damage to me and been getting one shot killed, which is fun. So I'm going to pull up and manage to bounce shot off my upper plate from the IS-3, and since he fired, I'm probably going to be able to fire and shoot before he does. And good night. So that was working out pretty good. Up to 3 kills. Gonna wait for my reload. The reload's about 9-ish, 10 seconds. So this T-54 doesn't look like he's got any of the better guns. So I'm just gonna drive up on him and put a shot right through the front of him. And his heat round, yeah, heat rounded me right through the front of the tank. Let me just stop and see which gun he did have. Nope, he had the upgraded gun. Never mind. I am completely wrong. But that does happen from time to time. Cross-country performance is good. You can easily do about 40, 41. It does climb, it's got great engine power. Turret traverses fairly quickly as well. It's a tank that needs time to work though. It's not a very good DPM tank. If you're having to duke it out with a T-54, you definitely want to find stuff to try and duck around or go over and stuff. And this is about the end of this game. This guy ends up getting taken out by the FCM or the artillery. Little artillery action. So, not a bad game for the Centurion. Ended up getting 4 kills and 3,200 damage, which I'll take any day of the week. And next we'll go into some Kharkov games because there's nothing better than medium tanks, main battle tanks on Kharkov, right? And we've gone back in time to 9.1. This is a long time ago, gonna galaxy far away. Back when the snow looked a lot better and a lot cooler than it does now. I really liked it when the snow looked like this. It probably really harmed the frame rate though, especially for the Russians running on their 286s. And in this game, I'm pretty sure I was running the 105. We'll find out when I do 200 or 400 damage. So I was being careful. We were in a tier 10 game, and I was just driving around, seeing what tanks I could spot. So I'm going to stop and pull out, because there's usually something hiding in this area, and there doesn't appear to be. I'm not angling very well, though. Who is driving this tank? It's not me. Stopping and aiming. Doesn't look like there's too much there. But it does look like there's a heavy tank over to the right. And it's an IS-4. And I'm just taking my time. I'm not in any huge mega rush here. And yeah, I'm using 105. So I put one heavy shot into the side of that M48 pattern, and I'm going to start the reload. And my main goal now isn't to fight 2 heavy tanks and a tier 10 medium tank. I am going to pay attention to where my teammates are on the map. And I see a push rolling around the outside, so I'm just going to keep following that push. Yeah, I do miss this snow. It isn't this snowy in the new patch, is it? Anyway. And I'm scanning around, and it looks like I've got a shot at a T-54. And this guy pulls right in front of me and blocks my shot. And yeah, not fantastic. Shooting at the turret of T-54 usually isn't a very productive thing, and there it wasn't going to go in. Unless you hit the T-54's turret like flush with kind of on those little divvy parts beside the gun, usually your shots just don't go in. So I roll around on the T-54. I got his side, so I put a shot into him. And now the gun takes a long time to reload, so I got to try and make sure I can still get this angle. Stop. And still managed to snapshot that guy, which was pretty lucky, actually. Put a pretty heavy shot into him. That was nice. Now, looking around, I can see there's a T-54 who's not really paying attention, so I'm going to pull forward, put another shot into him. And I can see that our T-71 and our Pershing could use some help. And my main goal is to go and help them at this point. So I'm going to turn, see if I can help kill this foxy dude. And coming around. And I had a shot at the artillery, so I kind of decided I was just going to stop and take that shot. But there was also a Waffenträger E100 back there as well, probably reloading. But now I've got an E50 in my sights, so we're going to go in there and we're going to put a shot into his back. But while I was shooting the artillery, the the T-71 looks like he got rammed by the E50. So I'm going to come around, take a shot, but it bounces. I bounce on him, and my tracks are broken. He's going to try and ram me, and funny enough, he actually took damage. Actually, no, he did damage to me. So I shoot him in the tracks, track him in place. I'm just going to back up. He's going to shoot. He's going to miss, and I know his reload's decently long. Roll around and put one through his lower plate, and that's going to be it for him. This is a fairly quick game. We ended up rolling over their team pretty easy, and I just engaged tanks that I had I was on equal footing with, like the medium tanks. They weren't really paying too much attention though, unfortunately. And it would have been nice to get over and get this last shot into the bat chat, but that isn't going to happen because... Oh! Maybe it's going to happen. No, I don't think it's actually going to happen. Again, the slowness of the Centurion 7-1 kind of holds it back sometimes. So that was a real quick game. And then we'll jump into one other one. This one was only 2,421 damage, 3 kills. But ended up being actually tops in the team in experience for whatever reason. So that was interesting. Alright, last game. We're back on Kharkov again. I'm using the 105. Now I've tested out different parts of this map, and what I have found is this part over here, this low ground, is kind of where you go if you want to get shot by artillery, because it's the only part of the map that they can actually hit. So in my personal opinion, it's kind of bad to go over here. And this is from 9.2, where this map was still fairly fresh. So I just don't really recommend going over this spot. And now it looked like it was going to hit that shot, but no go, no bones on that one. So I've got a WZ11-4, and he's kind of in the open, but not really. Don't really have a great shot at him. Just testing the front of his turret. Evidently, I don't have enough pen to deal with that. Now there's a Tiger. And there's a T-44 over here, so I'm just going to check if he's still around. And I don't see him. And this spot is quickly becoming boring, so I'm not going to hang out here for too much longer. But then I run into a Yag Tiger, and we exchange shots. And see that there's a Tiger in the open, so I am going to wheel around, and I am going to put a shot through the front of that Tiger and get him out of here. Except I roll for 50 less than I should, and the Tiger is still alive. And because I saw this guy aiming back over here, I can see there's a Type 59 that has our back, but he's not really that close. So maybe got a shot at this T-44, and it looks like I do. And I roll a nice 15 under average again. Object 416 is pumping it for some damage. And I'm going to end the T-44's day. So things aren't looking too bad. I'm scouting around, see our Yag Tiger friend again. Put another lower than average damage roll into the front of his tank again. And it looks like we've also got, that's a really bad shot. I don't really want to be taking that shot, so I'm just going to back up back around the corner and try and change the angle on these guys. Come around the corner, and oh, we got our tiger friend. He's come back. So I'm going to finish him off because I don't need him shooting at me when these guys are still in front. Got a Borsig coming around, so I'm trying to be mindful that there's a tank there. And I take a chance driving through that hole, but I just wanted to take the chance. And we had a lot of tanks in that area, so I kind of figured that this guy over here, the T-44 and the T-20, could use some help against this Borsig. So I drive back around. And, whoa! I rolled higher than average on that shot. And for whatever reason, their artillery's decided he's going to roll in here, but I decide that I'm going to secure the kill in the Borsig because killing the artillery... well, usually it doesn't really matter, but... he killed our T-20, so I felt a little bit bad. Now there's only 2 tanks left, and one's in the object zone 04, and he's the only one left. And everyone is going to go converge on him and destroy him. And that was it for this game. Again, it was pretty quick. Ended up doing 2,400 damage, which was surprisingly second best on the team. And this was a fairly tier 9 game. It was about a third tier 9s, the rest were all tier 8s and some tier 7s. So my general opinion of this Centurion is it's a pretty good tank. It's fairly strong in most areas. It's prone to getting ammo racked and stuff knocked out, especially if it gets hit a lot in the front through the upper plate and the lower plate. And sometimes the side armor is actually fairly decent. Like these plates sometimes eat shots that you wouldn't expect them to. And when I do get hit in the turret, it's usually at the top part of the section near the top here. And sometimes on the cheeks. The best part to block shots with is the top of this and the bottom of that, the mantlet. So in general, Centurion's pretty strong.